Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our star tonight is one of the most compelling actresses in America today, Miss Agnes Moorehead. Miss Moorehead returns to our stage to appear in a new study in terror by Lucille Fletcher, called Sorry, Wrong Number. This story of a woman who accidentally overheard a conversation with death and who strove frantically to prevent murder from claiming an innocent victim is tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with Sorry, Wrong Number and the performance of Agnes Moorehead. We again hope to keep you in suspense.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 70093 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I will be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Murray Hill 70093.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hello, George.
Yes, sir. This is George speaking.
Hello? Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client now. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth. Now, don't worry. Everything's okay.
Very well. Now, you know the address? At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out, eh? There should be only one light visible from the street. At 11:15, a train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case her window is open and she should scream.
Oh, hello. What number is this, please?
Okay. I understand.
Now make it quick. As little blood as possible, eh? Our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
Will a knife be okay, sir?
Well, the knife will be okay. And do you remember the other details?
Yeah, I know. Remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer.
That's right. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery.
Now, don't worry. Everything is going to be okay.
All right, then. Be sure to...
Oh, how awful. How unspeakably awful. Oh.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry. What number were you calling?
Why, it was supposed to be Murray Hill 70093, but it wasn't. Some wires must have got crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. Something about a murder. And, operator, you'll simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon. May I help you?
Oh, I know it was the wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, and they were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, please?
Well, that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Oh, why are you so stupid? Well, what time is it? Do you mean to tell me you can't find out what that number was just now?
I'll connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, I think it's perfectly shameful. Now, look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 70093 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number. And I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again, on purpose, why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 70093 in the same sort of careless way.
Murray Hill 70093. I will try to get it for you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call you in 20...
Operator. Operator, will you answer me?
Your call, please.
Well, you didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry. What number are you calling?
Oh, can't you for once forget what number I'm calling and do something for me? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty, it's your civic duty to trace that call and apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't...
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please. Answer.
This is the chief operator.
Oh, chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down because it was about a murder that someone's planning. A terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
I'm not certain. It depends.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Now, but listen...
And your telephone number, please?
Plaza 42295. But if you go on wasting all this time...
Why do you want the call traced, please?
Why? Well... Oh, no reason. No reason. I merely felt very strongly that something ought to be done about it. These men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight, and I thought the police ought to know.
Have you reported this to the police?
Well, no, not yet.
You want this call checked purely as a private individual?
Yes, but meanwhile...
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make this check for you and trace the call just in your say-so as a private individual.
Well,
we'd have to do something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake. You mean to tell me I can't report that there's going to be a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. Well, all right. I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the best way to...
Ridiculous. It's perfectly ridiculous. All this red tape. Oh.
Your call, please.
The police department. Get me the police department, please.
Thank you. Ringing the police department.
Okay.
Police station, precinct 43, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police department, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. The murder hasn't been committed yet, but I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody is so stupid, and I guess in the end you're the only people who could do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge. Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
Well, about 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something. You do understand.
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place. 53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge, the Queensboro Bridge, you know, and we have a private patrolman on our street, and 2nd Avenue.
And what was the number you were calling?
Murray Hill 70093. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 70093 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson. And we'll see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes, and personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you track it down, they'll already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it, don't you worry.
Well, I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the whole city. Now, I'm very near the bridge, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I'd feel a lot better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood,
ma'am?
Ma'am?
Well, I don't know. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue and patrolman and the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, ma'am.
I know.
And you know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone.
Oh.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx.
I know.
How do you know there isn't some little house out on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about?
Oh.
How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call in the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long-distance call you overheard. Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone call. Supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be upset, would you?
No, I suppose not. Only it sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
Well, a lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, ma'am.
Well,
we managed to prevent most all of them, but a clue of this kind is so vague. Isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
But surely you...
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony, and that somebody may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, well, no, I hardly think so. Well, I mean, why should anybody? I'm alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid, Eloise, and she's a big girl. She weighs 200 pounds. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray. And the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me. He just adores me. Waits on me hand and foot. Has scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well, and there's nothing for you to worry about.
But
now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us, we'll take care of it.
What will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it, lady.
Well, will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Oh, you idiot. Oh, now, why did I hang up the phone like that? Now he'll think I am a fool. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he? Oh.
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 70093 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
I will try it for you.
Well, try. Oh. So nervous. Why did he take so long?
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call you.
I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air, or just lean out of the window, or see the street. Hello, Albert? Hello? 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 Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? 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 Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? 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 Oh, try it. Oh. Oh, Whitey.
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now, look. I'm an invalid, and I'm very nervous, and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer...
What seems to be the trouble, please?
Well, everything's wrong. I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And now my phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put that call through, whatever it is, at once.
I'm afraid I cannot do that.
You can't, and why? Why, may I ask?
The dial system is automatic.
Oh.
If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check whether the call is coming through the system or not.
Oh,
unless the person who is trying to reach you complains to his particular operator.
Well, of all this stupidness. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check the trouble for you.
Check it. That's all anybody can do. Oh, what's the use of talking to you? You're stupid. I'll fix her. With all late impudence. Oh, how dare she speak to me like that? How dare she speak to me like that? Oh. She answered.
Your call, please.
Young woman, I don't know your name, but there are ways of finding you out. And I'm going to report you to your superiors for the most unpardonable rudeness and insolence that has ever been my privilege. Give me the business office at once.
You may dial that number direct.
Dial it direct? I'll do no such thing. I don't even know the number.
The number is in the directory, or you may secure it by dialing information.
Now listen here, you... Oh, what's the use? Oh, dear. Oh, for heaven's sake, I'm going out of my mind. Hello. Stop ringing me, do you hear? Answer me. Who is this? Do you realize you're driving me crazy? Who's calling me? What are you doing it for? Now stop it, I say. Hello. If you don't stop ringing me, I'm going to call the police. You hear? The police. Oh, if Albert would only come home. Oh, let it ring. Let it go on ringing. It's a trick of some kind. And I won't answer it. I won't, even if it goes on ringing all night. Now, what's the matter? Why do they stop ringing all of a sudden? What time is it? Oh, where did I put that clock? 5 to 11. Oh, they've decided something. They're sure I'm home. They heard my voice answer them just now. That's why they've been ringing me. Why no one has answered me? Call that operator again. Oh, where is she? Why doesn't she answer? Oh, operator. Why doesn't she answer? Oh.
Your call, please.
Where were you just now? Why didn't you answer at once? Give me the police department.
I'm sorry. Just a minute.
Oh.
I'm sorry. The line is busy. I will call you.
Busy? But that's impossible. The police department can't be busy. There must be other lines available.
The line is busy.
Oh.
I will try to get them for you later.
No, I've got to speak to them now, or it may be too late. I've got to talk to someone.
What number do you wish to speak to?
I don't know, but there must be someone to protect people beside the police department. A detective agency.
You will find agencies listed in the classified directory.
But I don't have a classified directory. I mean, I'm too nervous to
I
look
will
it up,
connect
and
you
I
with
don't know.
information. Perhaps she will be able to help you.
No. Oh, you're being spiteful, aren't you? You don't care, do you, what happens to me? I could die and you wouldn't care. Oh, stop it! Stop it! I can't stand it anymore. Hello? What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it.
Hello? Is this Plaza 42295?
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Elbert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Elbert Stevenson, 53 North 2nd Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for last hour, but line busy.
Oh.
Leaving for Boston, 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, signed, Elbert.
Oh, no.
Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
No. No, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. He couldn't do it. Not when he knows I'll be all alone. It's some trick. It's some trick. Some fiendish trick. I know. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, what is the answer?
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 70093 number for me just once more, please.
You may dial that number direct.
Oh. Oh, he's gone. Oh, Albert, how could you? How could you? I can't be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone one more second, I'll go mad. I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled.
This is information. May I help you?
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Henchley Hospital?
Yes.
Do you have the street address?
No, it's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small, private and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley, H-E-N-C-A. Well, will you please hurry and please, what is the time?
You may find out the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I've no time to be dialing.
The number of Henchley Hospital is Butterfield 70105.
Butterfield 70105.
Henchley Hospital, good evening.
The nurse's registry.
Who was it you wished to speak to, please?
I want the nurse's registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire immediately for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing and companionship. You see, my husband is away, and I'm...
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I just want a trained nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this person for attending me.
We quite understand that, madam, but these are war times, you know.
I know that.
Registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels it's absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very much upset, very. I'm alone in this house, and I'm an invalid, and tonight I overheard a telephone conversation that upset me dreadfully. In fact, if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in. And what is your name, madam?
Miss Phillips? And when do you expect her in?
I really couldn't say. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 o'clock yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 15 minutes past 11.
What was that?
What, madam?
That click just now in my own telephone. As though someone had lifted the receiver off the hook of the extension telephone downstairs.
Well, I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about this...
But I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now. They're listening! I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. I won't let them hear me. I'll be quiet. I'll be so quiet. And they'll think... Oh, but if I don't call someone now, while they're still down there, wait, there'll be no time. I've got to help.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry.
Oh, but you've got to hear me. Oh, please, you've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with... Oh, there it is. There it is. Did you hear it? He's put it down. He's put down the extension phone. He's coming up. He's coming upstairs. Okay, give me the police department. The police department. Give me the police department.
One moment, please. I will connect you.
I can hear him. Oh, I can hear him. He's coming nearer. Oh, I know it. Hurry! Hurry, please!
Oh, police department. Oh, I'm sorry. Must have got the wrong number.
Precinct 43, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Martin speaking. Police Department, Martin speaking.
Oh, police department?
Police Department.
I'm sorry. Must have got the wrong number. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
And so closes Sorry, Wrong Number, starring Agnes Moorehead, tonight's tale of Suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black. who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when Mr. Donald Crisp and Mr. John Loder will star in the suspense play called The Extra Guest. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, the musical director, and Lucille Fletcher, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
In just a moment, CBS will present its weekly program of the world's outstanding thrillers, Suspense. Before we begin, the producer feels it incumbent upon him to reply herewith to the many inquiries concerning the solution of last week's story of the woman on the telephone called Sorry, Wrong Number. Due to a momentary confusion in the studio, an important line cue was delivered at the wrong time, and some of our listeners were uncertain as to the outcome of the story. For them, be it known that the woman, so remarkably played by Miss Agnes Moorehead, was murdered by a man whom her husband had hired to do the job. We should also like to announce that in response to many hundreds of requests, this suspense play will be repeated within a few weeks.
And now, this is the Man in Black, here again to introduce our performance tonight of Suspense. Our stars this evening are two distinguished gentlemen from the Hollywood sound stages, Mr. Donald Crisp and Mr. John Loder. Mr. Crisp and Mr. Loder are here to enact for us a strange and startling drama in which they, in the interest of justice, made use of an unusual method to wring a confession of guilt from a criminal. The story is by Rupert Croft Cook and is called Banquo's Chair. And so, with Banquo's Chair and the performances of Donald Crisp as Sir William Brent and John Loder as Arthur Grange, Sir William's friend who relates the story to us, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
I would like you to look at this photograph. It's the picture of Sir William Brent, ex-head of the English Criminal Investigation. I knew Sir William well, and he always terrified me. Not in the sense that he was brutal or evil. He was none of that. But look at that cold face, particularly his eyes. When he looked at you, you flushed with guilt. Every misdeed you ever committed in your life floated over your face. A glance from him made you feel as if you were stark naked. He saw you with all your defenses down. Sir William was the scourge of criminals, coldly unemotional, utterly without fear or passion. He tracked them down mercilessly and never lost a case. There was no feeling in him, no pity, no hate, nothing but terrifying, cold intelligence. And he was deadly to everyone he went after. I'm going to tell you about his last case. A case that, well, even recalling it sends real shudders through me. I swear it's true. I saw it with my own eyes. I wish I never had. I witnessed it in all its dreadful details. One night at the club, about 11 o'clock, a boy came up to me.
Telegram for you, sir.
I ripped open the envelope and read the telegram. Dear Arthur, will you come and dine with me at Turret House, Sydenham on Thursday? There will be several guests, and I think I can promise you an unforgettable evening. It was signed by Sir William Brent. I was annoyed. I don't like to receive telegrams so late in the evening, and Sir William could easily have phoned, unless he didn't want to go into details with me. I decided to phone him.
Hello? Hello?
This is Arthur Grange calling.
Yes, I know. Did you receive my telegram?
Yes, Sir William. What's all the mystery about?
Well, I'll tell you about it on Thursday. Are you coming?
Yes, I'll be there.
Very good. I particularly want you to be there.
You sound so mysterious, I'm thinking of coming armed or bringing several bodyguards.
No, won't be necessary to bring any bodyguards. But you'd better come armed. Well armed. Yes, bring a revolver. Good night.
Early Thursday evening, I made my way to Turret House. A windy November rain slashed at the streets. Turret House is a huge red brick, unpleasantly somber mansion, an ugly product of Queen Victoria's time. There it squatted, back of the road, almost hidden to view by several dripping pine trees. The neighborhood had known better days. I walked up along the unkept path until I reached the great oaken door. I let the knocker fall once or twice, and the door opened.
Good evening, Mr. Grange. I was waiting for you.
Hello, Lane.
Nasty night, sir, isn't it?
It's not much warmer in here.
There's a fire in the dining room, sir.
Whatever made Sir William move into this drafty dungeon?
Oh, we haven't moved in, sir. It's only temporary. Sir William just renting. We still live in the West End.
Oh, I see. Have any of the other guests arrived?
Yes, Mr. Grange. Miss Stone is here.
Miss Stone?
Yes, the mystery writer. This way, Mr. Grange. I'll show you to the dining room. Sir William will be down shortly.
Oh, hello. I'm Roberta Stone.
How'd you do? I'm Arthur Grange, an old friend of Sir William's.
Yes, I know.
I've read some of your mystery stories and enjoyed them very much.
Thank you, Mr. Grange.
Just what is going on here tonight?
I don't know. Sir William sounded awfully mysterious. But then, I've known Sir William for a long time. He never lets anyone down. If anything, he understates.
I know. He told me to come armed.
He told me the same thing. Here's my gun. I must admit, I've never fired it in my life.
Well, this house is certainly a proper background for anything unpleasant.
It's already been the scene of a crime.
Oh? What crime?
Murder. A particularly unpleasant one.
Really? I must say the murderer couldn't have picked a more ideal spot.
Isn't it a fact? You know, I once wrote a story of...
Good evening, Roberta. Arthur, I'm glad you're both on time.
Hello, Sir William.
Hello. A nice apartment you have here. A sort of mausoleum and dining room combined.
You're a bit afraid, aren't you?
Of course not. Why should I be?
Your eyes give you away.
What's all this about? You invite us to this godforsaken dungeon and tell us to come armed?
Don't be upset, Arthur. I'm sure you'll come out of this all right.
You mean we may be in some danger?
Naturally, I wouldn't tell you to come armed otherwise.
Who is this other guest, Sir William?
There are 2 more guests. But first we'll have a drink, and then I'll tell you both all about it. Lane.
Yes, Sir William?
Will you serve the drinks?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen tonight. This house, Turret House, was the scene of the Sydenham murder. A very famous case.
Yes, I know about it.
That's right. No offense, old man, but wasn't it the only case you never solved?
You're wrong, Arthur. I solved the Sydenham case, but I couldn't bring the criminal to justice because of insufficient evidence.
You mean you knew who the murderer was?
Oh, yes, of course. It was the nephew. The police knew it, too.
Then why in the world didn't you bring the case to a conclusion?
Because the nephew had an absolute and unimpeachable alibi. To have arrested him would have meant a waste of time and money and a release in the end. Besides, according to English law, a man discharged can never be arrested again on the same murder charge.
Well, this is all very fascinating. Has it anything to do with our being here tonight?
Yes, Roberta, it has. In a short while, the nephew, John Bedford, will be here to dine with us. And, oh yes, the victim, Miss Ferguson.
What? Well, wait. You mean Miss Ferguson wasn't actually murdered?
Miss Ferguson is quite dead. Has been dead these 2 years.
You mean you're going to have the body of Miss Ferguson here at dinner? Oh, this is a little too much. If you'll excuse me, I'll dine elsewhere tonight.
Not so fast, Roberta. Perhaps you'd better wait until you hear the rest of the story.
This promises to be a very gay dinner.
Oh, yes.
Now, as you both know, I've never lost a case, except the Sydenham murder, which will be finished tonight. Now, I'm an egotist. I don't believe there's a criminal in all England that can outwit me. As a matter of fact, I've resigned from the criminal investigation for the sole reason of trapping Mr. John Bedford.
It's hard to believe.
Well, I told you I was an egotist. No criminal has beaten me yet, and no one ever will.
You have an awful lot of patience.
Infinite patience. I devoted 2 years to this case. And now that my moment of triumph has arrived, I wanted to have some witnesses. A writer who will record the event, and an admirer who will applaud with awe the trickiness of my scheme.
Well, if it's as gruesome as I think it is, I won't be here to watch it.
Oh, yes, you will. Horror has a way of fascinating and hypnotizing people. Besides, Arthur, you'd be ashamed to run out now.
I'll stay, of course.
So will I.
Good. Now, before I tell you my scheme, let me first acquaint you with the details of the murder. Exactly 2 years ago tonight, old Miss Ferguson.
Where is that foolish maid?
Yes, Miss Ferguson.
Why don't you answer when I call?
I was in the kitchen, ma'am.
It's after 10 o'clock. You should be on your way home.
I was just about to leave.
Has my nephew called?
No, ma'am. Mr. Bedford hasn't called since yesterday. I told him he couldn't come in, just like you said.
I don't ever want to see him again. He's no good. He's an evil man who will come to an evil end. You're never to let him in here, Hilda.
He won't ever come in this house if I can help it. No, ma'am.
Now you'd better run along and make sure all the doors are bolted.
Yes, ma'am. Good night, Miss Ferguson.
Good night, Hilda. A pity about that nephew of mine. I'll change my will. Won't leave him a penny, I won't. In the morning, I'll change the will. That's... Who's there? Who is it?
It's I, Aunt Martha, your own affectionate nephew.
What are you doing in my house?
Oh, you're not at all pleased to see me. Your only living relative, too.
I'd like you to leave at once or call the police, Hancock.
I'd rather not, Auntie. I want to have a talk with you.
You don't want to talk to me. All you want is money.
Yes, Auntie, I do want money. And lots of it.
You've got all the money you'll ever get out of me. You won't even get a penny after I die. I'll see to that. Perhaps you'll appreciate the value of money after you've worked for it.
You know, Auntie...
You're wearing gloves. What are you up to?
I've made up my mind.
What are you doing? Keep away.
You're an old woman. All that money's no good for you. You can never use it. I'm young, and money means life to me. A rich and gay life. You're old, and you're going to die soon anyway.
No, it can't be. You're not going to do that.
Yes, Auntie, I am. You don't want to live anywhere. You're lonely, you're sick, and you're old. I'm going to do you a favor. Nobody can hear you now. I'm your heir. Your only heir, Auntie. You're next of kin. The estate is going to be mine. All of it. Now, don't you worry, Auntie. We'll have a fine funeral for you.
That's pretty much the way old Miss Ferguson was murdered.
Oh, how ghastly.
Hilda found the body the next morning. I immediately went to work on the case. All the evidence pointed to John Bedford. Everyone believed he committed the crime. He almost admitted it himself. I had him brought to my office for questioning. Oh, hello, Bedford. Come in.
Thank you, sir. How'd you do, Sir William?
Cigarette?
Oh, thank you.
Well, how does it feel to kill your own aunt?
May I have a light, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I wouldn't know, Sir William. You see, I never killed anyone. Have you?
I have, Mr. Bedford. And I've sent quite a few to the gallows.
Yes, so I understand.
What was your relationship to Miss Ferguson?
She was my aunt.
Don't be flippant. Flippancy only proves your guilt.
Well, to tell you the truth, sir, my aunt didn't like me. She thought I was a spendthrift and a useless parasite, and she was quite right.
Would you mind telling me where you were the night your aunt was murdered?
Oh, not at all. In jail. I had drunk a little too much and gotten into a bit of a tiff with someone, that's all.
Have you ever been arrested for drunkenness before?
Never, Sir William. This was my first offense.
It's quite an alibi.
Quite a fact. It would hardly be possible for me to be in jail and kill my aunt at the same time, you know. Unless, of course, my aunt came into my cell and allowed me to murder her, after which she walked back to Turret House as a ghost, dragging her body behind her.
According to my reports, Mr. Bedford, you drink very little. No one who knows you has ever seen you drunk before. You probably got drunk in joyful anticipation of murdering your aunt.
As a thoroughgoing criminal investigator, don't you think you ought to check my story?
I already have. You've done a very skillful job. Too bad you couldn't use your talents for something constructive.
Well, why don't you arrest me, Sir William?
No, Mr. Bedford. I have time. Plenty of time.
Well, you'd better work fast. By the time you get around to me, I'll have spent all of my aunt's beautiful money.
It's not the money we're after. It's you. Your beautiful life. Good day, Mr. Bedford. That's how matters stood. I refused to let any of my men arrest him.
But how in the world could he have murdered his aunt while he was in jail?
Perhaps he bribed the prison guard to let him out for an hour.
Yes, Roberta, I believe he did. Unfortunately, the guard died of pneumonia soon afterwards, which left us no further source of evidence.
As far as I can see at the moment, Sir William, you haven't a leg to stand on.
You're quite right, Arthur, I haven't. Except that every man, particularly a criminal, has an Achilles heel. I discovered John Bedford's weakness.
What is it?
He's superstitious. And it annoyed me tremendously that John Bedford was my first failure. Here was a clever, calloused criminal who laughed at me. No one had ever done that before. Bedford knew I could do him no harm, and he made the most of it. Carefully and patiently, I thought it over. I looked upon Bedford as you would look on a Chinese puzzle. There is no such thing as an impregnable defense. A few months later, I went to visit Bedford.
Well, Sir William Brent. What a surprise. Won't you come in, please?
Thank you, Mr. Bedford.
Well, I'm honored to have the great Sir William Brent pay me a visit. You're not after any more clues, I hope. It gets rather tedious, you know.
No, not at all. I know when I'm licked.
Well, I didn't want to appear smug, sir, but everyone has his Waterloo. Would you have a drink?
No, thanks. I suppose you're curious about why I came here.
Well, I'd hardly imagined it was a friendly visit.
On the contrary, it is. You see, I admire brilliant people, no matter what they're calling.
Oh, you're very flattering, Sir William.
I've resigned from the criminal investigation. I'm a private citizen now.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Most people misunderstand me. It wasn't my love for justice that made me pursue my profession with such tenacity and...
Success?
With the sole exception of your case, of course. It was a game of skill to me. My wits against all comers. I lost in your case. But then we've all got to lose sometime, haven't we?
I don't believe you, Sir William. You're still out to get me.
Well, there isn't much of a chance, is there?
I'm afraid not, Sir William. I've kept out of trouble so far. Knock wood.
That's an odd habit for a man like you, knocking on wood. You're not superstitious, are you?
Huh? Of course not. Just a habit since I was a child.
I see. Well, now to the reason for my visit. I noticed in the papers that you're looking for a tenant for Turret House.
Oh, yes, I am.
I'd like to rent it.
Well, the scene of the crime, huh? Well, of course, why not? There's no harm in it. As a matter of fact, I'll let you have it very cheaply.
And that's how I rented this house. The house where the murder was committed.
Well, what's your plan?
It had better be a good one. Mr. Bedford sounds like a hard customer.
Yes, it's a strange plan, but an effective one. I saw Bedford frequently. Our acquaintance blossomed into a kind of friendship, an armed friendship, of course. He knew I was out to get him, and I wanted him to know that. He's vain, very vain. And this game intrigued him. I also learned that he was very superstitious, although he denied it vigorously. Tonight is the anniversary of the murder, and tonight Mr. Bedford dines with us at 8 o'clock.
It's nearly 8 now.
Now, this is the plan. You know May Wakefield?
Of course. She's the famous Shakespearean actress.
That's right. During dinner, she will enter the room in the precise likeness of Miss Ferguson, the murdered woman. We, of course, will pretend not to see her. We remain outwardly unconscious of her. Only Bedford will be aware of her presence. I believe Bedford will confess.
I'd imagine he'd keep away on this night, especially if it's the anniversary.
He's giddy with success. And also, the fact that Roberta Stone, the famous writer, is here with us, tweaks his vanity. He'll be here promptly.
Oh, I don't like this.
Well, this is just like one of your stories. It doesn't become you to be frightened.
Oh, I won't run away.
Well, there's one more thing. During dinner, the electric lights will be switched off at the main, and candles will be lit. We must have the correct atmosphere. You understand now? You're not to see May Wakefield. She doesn't exist for us. Is that clear?
I'll look right through her.
Oh, it gives me the creeps.
That, I am sure, is our Mr. Bedford.
The appearance of John Bedford suddenly made the whole scene grimly real. He was a tall, well-built man in his late 30s, immaculately dressed and perfectly groomed. At first sight, his face seemed pleasant enough, but on closer scrutiny, his gray eyes were hard and cold. He looked us over, all of us, with arrogance and superiority. I heartily wished I was elsewhere. This was one scene I had no desire to witness. After the introductions were over, we sat down to dinner.
Is it still nasty outside, Mr. Bedford?
Yes, and getting worse. Looks like we're in for a few days of it.
Too bad. I was going to do some riding tomorrow.
The soup is excellent.
Yes, your cook should be congratulated, son. The soup's a masterpiece.
Poor Alice. She's been my cook for 20 years. But she's given me notice, absolutely refuses to stay here, says this house is haunted.
So?
Roberta, this might make an interesting story for you.
Yes, Sir William.
You should speak to her. Alice swears that she has seen the figure of an elderly lady with finger marks on her throat walking about this house.
Oh, come now, Sir William. This is too good. Such an obvious attempt to frighten me. Sir William is convinced that I murdered my aunt. Please, Sir William, a little more subtlety. Surely I deserve it.
Perhaps the cook did see the figure.
As you very well know, Mr. Bedford, I don't believe in ghosts, and I'm sure my cook never saw this elderly figure. It's all in her mind.
Well, I'm afraid your little attempt didn't work, sir, but I must admire your graceful admittance of its failure.
Yes, I suppose I'd better give up, shouldn't I?
Oh, no, never give up. If at first you don't succeed, you know.
Do you live very far from here, Mr. Bedford?
Thank you, Miss Stone, but there's no need to change the topic. I hope you find this game as amusing as I do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bedford, but this isn't my idea of pleasant dinner conversation.
Oh, we'll talk of pleasant things.
I saw a very exciting play last night.
Excuse me a moment. It's really fearfully hot in here. Do you mind if we get a little air, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. It is rather warm. Lane, open one of the windows, please.
Yes, sir.
Awful weather, isn't it?
Yes. I don't know how we're going to get home, really.
It's a bad month of the year. I'd intended to go to the Riviera for...
What's the matter?
Honest.
Lane, what on earth is wrong with the light?
I don't know, sir.
Well, don't stand there. Light the candles. We can't sit here in the darkness. And get the chauffeur. He knows something about electric lights.
I'll call the chauffeur right away, sir.
I'm terribly sorry about this. We've had trouble with the wiring before. The chauffeur will have it fixed in a few moments. Now, let's get on with our dinner.
If this is one of your tricks, Sir William,
Oh, have some more wine, Mr. Bedford.
It was a tense and terrible moment. I looked at Roberta. She was pale and frightened. Bedford, for all his poise, was uneasy. He didn't know whether Sir William was planning anything or whether this was really an accident. My heart was pounding away, and my palms were moist with perspiration. Only Sir William appeared cool. There was not a trace of emotion in his face.
Oh, Mr. Bedford, you were saying about visiting the Riviera.
Yes?
It's quite a change from England at this time of year.
Well, I suppose I'll make the trip next month when I...
What's the matter, Mr. Bedford?
Nothing at all. I wish we could have some light. Rather difficult to see.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry this had to happen just at dinner. Have a little more wine, Mr. Bedford.
Yes, thank you.
The figure of a woman had entered the room. She had come in silently, like a ghost. We all saw her, but not one of us moved or made a sign of recognition. In the dim candlelight, she looked ghostly and unreal. Bedford looked at all of us to see if we also had seen the figure, but we ate our dinner grimly. He looked again, then shook his head and gulped more wine.
Don't any of you see anything?
See what, Mr. Bedford?
It's another one of your tricks. Can't any of you see her?
What's got into you, Bedford?
It's my aunt. My aunt.
Perhaps you've had too much to drink. Huh? Your aunt's dead, Mr. Bedford. You're not seeing ghosts, I hope.
Perhaps I drank too much.
Yes, of course.
She's coming toward me.
Now, calm yourself. I've never seen you like this. What? There's no one else here. Do you see anyone, Roberta?
No, Sir William.
I don't either.
I'm leaving.
I can't make you out, Bedford. You don't seem to be drunk.
You're not wearing your gloves today, John.
She's real.
can't any of you see her. Can't you hear her?
What's come over you, Bedford?
I'm leaving here. She's at the door. She won't let me out now.
I'm an old woman. Money is no good for me. I'm lonely, John. I'm lonely.
Let me fly on, Mouth, out of my way.
There's no one in your way, Bedford. Come, sit down.
Get away from that door. I'll murder you again. Hear me on, Mother. I'll murder you again, you old witch. I'll murder you again.
All right, switch on the lights. Now, Officer Graham. Come along.
What?
Arrest him. You've heard the confession. Put the handcuffs on him.
I've got him, sir.
Heaven. Oh, I have never seen anything so horrible.
Well, Bedford, it seems that I've finally caught up with you.
I'll kill her again. I'll kill her again.
That wasn't your aunt. It was May Wakefield, the actress.
I'll kill her again. I'll kill her.
Take him away. State of shock. Well, shall we continue with our dinner?
I hope you're fully satisfied, Sir William.
Quite. It's been a long job, but it has ended as I knew it would. I'm most grateful to you both for your help.
I thought it was a pretty grim affair.
Oh, your methods repel me. But I suppose you know your job. May Wakefield certainly knew hers. That was the finest piece of acting I've ever seen.
Her makeup was incredibly good. We must congratulate her. She's probably gone to her room. Lane.
Yes, sir.
Please call Miss Wakefield.
Miss Wakefield, sir?
Yes, the lady who's been assisting us this evening.
Well, I'll look for her, sir.
Yes, tell her to come down and join us. We have a fine dinner waiting for her.
Excuse me, sir. But this telegram came a little while ago. I didn't want to disturb you during dinner.
Oh, yes, let me have it. Good heavens.
Sir William, what's wrong?
I'll read it to you. Severe influenza makes it impossible for me to leave my bed tonight. Will tomorrow night do? Signed, May Wakefield.
Lord help us. If it wasn't May Wakefield, then who was that figure here tonight?
There was no answer. I looked at Sir William, staring at the telegram. His face was grey and stony. On his left temple, a crooked blue vein stood out. It twitched once or twice, and then was motionless. He looked as though he'd seen a ghost.
And so closes Banquo's Chair, starring Donald Crisp and John Loder. Tonight's tale of Suspense. Now you may want to make a note of a change of time in these programs. Beginning next Tuesday, Suspense will be heard a half hour later, or 10 to 10:30 Eastern War Time. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us at our new time next Tuesday, when Vincent Price, Ona Munson, and Osa Masson will star in the suspense play 5 Canaries in the Room. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, and Lucien Morawick, conductor and composer, and Sigmund Miller, the radio author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, Here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. If you have been with us before, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so with 5 Canaries in the room, and the performances of Ona Munson as Anita, Osa Masson as Fifi, and with Lee Bowman as Ronald Denham, who tells the story, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
The trouble was, you see, that the whole apartment vanished. It's true. The flat disappeared, straight out of that apartment house. And the dead man disappeared with it. No, I'm not crazy. And in spite of what they said, I hadn't taken too many drinks. You see, I was getting married to Anita in another 2 weeks, and Jimmy Westlake gave a bachelor party for me. Well, hang it, it's a situation that might have happened to you. The party was at the old Cap and Bells Club on Lower Fifth Avenue, and it wasn't a brawl. Jimmy Westlake was in the chair, I admit, but nothing could have been more quiet, more dignified.
Oh, mademoiselle from Armitage, parlez-vous. Oh, mademoiselle from Armitage, parlez-vous. Oh, mademoiselle from Armitage. Quiet, you fellas, quiet. Pipe down, can't you? Wait a minute, the chairman wants to say something.
Gentlemen, this is a solemn occasion. If those dopes over there will kindly get away from the piano and sit down at the table, I have another toast to propose.
Excuse me, Mr. Westlake. Excuse me, please, sir.
Yes, Uncle Cato, what is it?
Excuse me, Mr. Westlake, but you ain't gonna bust the glasses on this toast, is you?
And why shouldn't we bust the glasses, Uncle Cato? Why shouldn't we bust the glasses?
Oh, but Mr. Westlake, if you keep on busting the glasses, there ain't gonna be no glasses left.
Well, in that sad eventuality, Uncle Cato, we will simply start busting the plates. Isn't that fair enough, boys?
Every goblet in the so-and-so place. Oh, we'll bust every goblet in the so-and-so place.
Oh, look, Jimmy, don't you think you'd better tone the gang down a little?
Be quiet, Ron. You're only the groom.
Yeah, I know, Jimmy, but...
Gentlemen, I regret to tell you this, but the protesting voice you just heard was that of our guest of honor, Ronald Denham. Now, we all know Ron, and we all like him. But I am sorry to say he is not himself. Where now is the terror of nightclubs, the chorus girl's friend? I say it to his face. He is sober. But we like him just the same. Friends, guests, and bachelors, I give you the groom.
Please, gentlemen, don't bust the glasses.
Hey, come on, Ron. Come on, say a few words.
That's right, Ron. Get out. Come on.
Now, look, boys, I thank you for all the good words, and I don't want to be a wet blanket on the party, but it's nearly midnight, and I've got to get home early. Don't you understand, boys? I'm a reformed character.
Yeah, how's Fifi Latour?
I haven't seen Fifi for over years. She doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Methinks he doth protest too much.
Now, look, I'm marrying the sweetest girl in the world, but Anita's a little, well, straight-laced.
Oh, yeah.
You know how it is. What's more, there's my Uncle Rufus.
Quiet!
Quiet! Anita and Uncle Rufus have apartments in the same building as I have. And what's more, they're on the same floor, and that's not all. Tom Evans, the fellow I share my flat
Wait a
with.
minute. Where is Tom Evans tonight? What's the matter with him?
Tom works for Uncle Rufus, and he doesn't drink.
Oh, he works for Uncle Rufus.
Hey, fellas.
And he never takes a drink. Oh, he works for Uncle Rufus.
Quiet, you baboons. Quiet.
He's a roaring broker, and he's never in the zinc.
Now, wait a minute. Will you put yourselves in my place? My girl and my uncle and my best friend, Tom Evans, are all expecting me to come home from this party in an ash cart.
Sure.
And I'm going to fool them.
Are you sure it's not so?
Oh, now have a heart, can't you?
Uncle Rufus must be a pretty tough egg, isn't he?
Oh, he's all right, but after his first $1 million, it went to his head.
Has he got any human weaknesses?
Yes, he keeps canaries. Oh, no, not the kind of canaries you're thinking. I mean the kind that go tweet-tweet in cages. Oh, what's the use?
What do you say, gentlemen? Shall we allow this pure in heart to wend his way home?
Well, he's got a drink for the bride, though.
That's right, Ron. Can you, as a chivalrous gentleman, refuse to drink to the bride? You can't, and you know you can't. Uncle Cato.
Yes, Mr. Westlake.
Get a beer mug from the sideboard there. Fill it with champagne.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Jim.
One more drink won't hurt you, Shirley. Just one little drink.
Well, no, I suppose not.
Fill it up, Uncle Cato.
All right, I'll have one more drink, just in honor of the occasion. But that's all, do you understand? That's absolutely all.
Yes, sir. 098 Park Avenue. Hey, mister. Come on, wake up.
What's wrong?
You're home, mister. This is the apartment house.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
All right,
Thanks.
Out we go. Easy now. Are you sure you're all right?
Yeah. Yes, I'm all right. I've been to a bachelor party.
Yeah, sure. I know. Well, take it easy now.
I can't see straight. The whole street's going around. The funny part is I only had a couple of drinks. They must have put something in that last.
Well, it's none of my business, mister, but I wouldn't tell that to the missus if I was you.
It's absolutely true.
Oh, sure. I know.
And I haven't got a missus. Not yet. On my word of honor, I'm a reformed character. I have nothing to do with any woman except...
Ronald Denham. As I live and breathe, it is Ronald Denham.
Fifi Latour.
Oh, Cherie, how good it is to see you. I look everywhere for you. I cry my eyes out, but I don't find you. What are you doing here?
I live here, Fifi. I moved.
Oh, you tried to get away from me, yes?
Yes. No, I mean... Well, here's your money, driver. Night.
Well, good night, sir. It's one of yours, lady. You better take care of him.
I'd take care of him. Yes, you bet you. My poor Ron. I forgive you this time. Because you've been under wrestle-dazzle and you need someone to take care of you. You live in this building, yes?
Yes. 5th floor.
Oh, good. I take you to your apartment.
No.
You say no, huh? And why not?
Because you mustn't go in there.
Oh, there's another woman.
What?
Oh, yes?
Well, yes. The fact is, Fifi, I'm going to get married.
Married?
Oh, for heaven's sake, Fifi, don't make a scene in the middle of the street.
Oh, you break my heart, eh? Right in the middle of Park Avenue, you take my heart and you break it bang, bang.
Fifi, please.
Now I tell you what you do. You will take me to your apartment this very minute.
No, definitely no.
You will give me 1 cigarette and 1 brandy. You will tell me what this means. Oh, I warn you, by golly, I start screaming so they can hear me at City Hall.
I can't do it, Fifi.
All right, then I start screaming.
No, wait a minute. Oh, of all the times in the world, you had to pick this.
Do I go along, Cherie? Yes or no?
Well, if I do take you, Fifi, will you promise to be good?
Cherie, I am always good.
You won't kick up a row or start banging at doors. Oh, if Anita heard of this.
Anita? And who's she?
Oh, never mind. I'm too groggy to argue. Come on. I remember going into that building. Dim religious light, deep carpets, an automatic elevator that you work yourself. I remember stepping into that elevator because the floor creaked. I remember pressing the button for the 5th floor. I took Fifi with me, and I took her into what the champagne told me was my own flat. Maybe you think that's funny, but it won't be funny much longer. Either the door of the flat was unlocked or my key fitted it. Anyway, I remember stumbling through the little hall inside, getting a light on, and into the living room. I remember sitting back in an easy chair, thanking the Lord I was home.
You don't mind if I take my coat off, Cherie?
Look, Fifi, couldn't you just go home?
I want to talk to you, Cherie. And this is one very nice flat. I like it.
Thanks a lot.
You and Tom Evans, you have good taste in furniture.
We didn't choose the furniture, Fifi.
This girl of yours chose it, I suppose?
No, it comes with the flat.
Oh, you mean?
Well, these are furnished flats. They're all furnished exactly alike except for the personal things you bring yourself. Like that picture on the wall behind me.
What picture, Cherie?
The painting of the clipper ship over there.
But, Cherie, your eyes are funny and you cannot see straight. There's no picture on that wall.
Wait a minute.
What's wrong? Why you jump up?
We don't own any bronze bookends. And the lampshades are different. And, Fifi, we're in the wrong flat.
Oh, well, then that explains everything.
Explains what?
It explains about the canary birds.
What canary birds?
When we first come in here, I think I hear a lot of birds sing. And I think, ooh la la, this is a funny taste for Ron Denham and Tom Evans. But then...
Uncle Rufus. Great Scott. Uncle Rufus.
This uncle of yours, he keep canary birds?
Yes, 5 of them, but this isn't his flat. I know his flat as well as I know my own. Where'd you hear the singing?
Behind that door over there, where I point.
That ought to be the door to the dining room. But what was that?
Oh, there's a car backfire. Maybe yes.
Maybe no, unless they keep cars in dining room. That was a gun.
It came from the dining room.
Yeah, I think so.
Quick, let's get out of here.
Oh, no, we don't. I've been pushed around tonight till I'm good and mad, and I'm just about crazy enough to find out what this is all about.
You're not going to open that door.
You just watch me. There's a light in that room, and...
How you know?
Look under the sill of the door. Not a very bright light, but...
Ron, don't do it.
Stand back now while I get the door open. Dining room. But not Uncle Rufus.
5 canary birds.
5 canaries in cages, all in a line. Where in Satan's name are we?
Oh, sure, I don't know.
Whose flat is this? Who except Uncle Rufus would keep 5 canaries?
I tell you one thing, though, and then I go out of here.
Well?
There's somebody watching us.
Where?
That swing door to the kitchen is partly open. But don't look.
The devil can I see it if I don't look?
There's somebody standing behind it. I see the light shine on his eye.
Quiet, Fifi. Hello there. Hello there.
The door move a little more. He's pushing it.
Oh, excuse me, sir. We didn't mean to barge in here. We're not burglars or anything like that. We got into the wrong flat, that's all. I want to apologize if we... Straight out through the door, on his face.
What's the matter with him? Why don't he move?
I've got an idea, Fifi. It's because he's dead. He was a little fat man with eyeglasses and a spade-shaped beard. He looked foreign somehow. And there was a bullet hole over his heart. You ask me what happened then? I don't know. Fifi turned and ran. At least I think she did. I bent over the man to make sure he was dead. And then something hit me. As though it hadn't been enough of a nightmare already, I could hear that blackjack strike the back of my skull. And everything exploded. I couldn't get my breath, and I seemed to be swimming in dark water. The next voice I heard wasn't Fifi's at all. It was Anita's. And...
Ron Denham.
Oh, my head. Oh, Lord, my head.
Well, I'm not at all surprised.
What's that, Anita? I can't hear you.
I said I'm not at all surprised. Of all the disgraceful, dissolute objects I ever saw.
Anita, where am I?
Oh, darling, as though you didn't know.
But I don't know. My head feels like a printing press in full blast.
Well, you're out in the main hall, dear, on the 5th floor, sitting on the stairs beside the elevator shaft.
That's true. But how did I get here?
Oh, now, really, Ron.
I must have been carried here. That's it.
By your drunken friends at the club? Well, I don't doubt it in the least.
No, Anita. No, you don't understand. I left that party early. I was cold sober. But the low hounds wanted to see me come home in bad shape. So they put something in my glass.
Oh, naturally, Ron. Whiskey or champagne?
Oh, no, Anita. I mean a drug of some kind. I was dizzy when I got here. Just as I was getting out of the taxi, I met...
Well, go on, dear. Whom did you meet?
Nobody, Anita. Nobody at all. I came up here to what I thought was my own flat, but it wasn't my flat. It was somebody else's. There were a lot of canaries singing and a dead man with a bullet hole in his chest. And... Well, this sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it?
Yes, dear, it certainly does.
Yeah, but it's true.
Oh, Ron, I suppose I've got to forgive you. I always do forgive you. Now run along like a good boy and sleep it off,
Listen, Anita. There's a dead man in one of these flats.
A dead man? In which flat?
Well, that's just it. I don't know.
You're not saying it's on this floor?
Yes, I definitely remember pressing the button for the 5th floor.
Suppose you listen to me, dear. Now, don't make faces and rumple your hair. Just listen. There are only 2 other apartments on this floor. One is your uncle's.
It wasn't his. I'll swear to that.
Well, and the other is mine. You don't think I'm hiding a dead man?
No, it wasn't your flat either.
Well, then where is it, darling? The whole flat can't vanish and take the dead man along, can it?
No. But I'll tell you something else, Anita. I've seen that man's face somewhere before.
Well, whose face?
The dead man's. Thick eyeglasses, square black beard, something foreign about it. I've seen him, or I've seen his picture, or...
Oh, Ron, please.
What's wrong?
It's the elevator. Somebody's coming up. Oh, please don't let people see you. Your hat smashed in and your tie's untied, and you look like nothing on earth.
Well, look here, Anita. If it comes to that, what are you doing out in the hall in negligee and pajamas?
Well, I wanted to make sure you got home safely. Ron, the elevator, it's Tom Evans and your Uncle Rufus.
All right, I can take it.
But your uncle can't. Now, don't say anything to him about this dead man. Promise me.
Hold on, I got it. Pierre Duroc.
Who?
Pierre Duroc. That's the dead man's name. He...
And furthermore, Evans, you may say that in this year of 1938, the prospect of a European war is so remote as not to be worth serious consideration.
Excuse me, sir, but isn't that a little strong?
Now, don't argue with me, Evans.
No, sir.
You may tell my secretary to... Look here. What's this?
Well, now look, Uncle Rufus.
Oh, I can't stand any more of this. I'm fed up.
Well, I don't blame you, my dear. Has this nephew of mine been annoying you again?
Oh, no, of course not, but please don't pay any attention to him. He's drunk.
For the last time, I am not drunk. I just want to ask Uncle Rufus, before I go completely nuts, whether he hasn't heard of Pierre Duroc.
What's that, Ronald? What'd you say?
Pierre Duroc, the French millionaire.
Well, what about him?
He's the man who always deals in cash on the line. Spot cash, even if it's $1 million. I saw his picture in the paper. He's in New York to put through a business deal with you, isn't he?
Oh, indeed, Ronald. Well, you show a commendable interest in my affairs.
That's what you want me to do, isn't it?
Well, I believe Duroc does want to buy some property I own, but he hasn't approached me and I haven't approached him. It's a bad business. Why have you developed this sudden interest in Duroc?
Because he's dead.
Dead?
Somebody shot him in a room full of canaries and then slugged me over the head. Do you believe me, Evan?
If your uncle will excuse me, old man, I don't see any reason not to believe you. Where's the body?
Well, that's the trouble. Ron claims he found it in a flat that doesn't exist. Listen. What's that?
Oh, like somebody running upstairs in the devil of a hurry.
Maybe it's the dead man.
As a matter of fact, it's the night porter. He's the one who can tell us.
Tell us what?
Well, maybe I did get off at a different floor, but that flat's got to be somewhere in this building. Pearson! Just a minute. Pearson!
I'm very sorry, sir. I can't stop now. Please stand aside. I've got to go upstairs and get the manager.
Why, Pearson? Is anything wrong?
Well, Mr. Evans...
Speak up, man. Is anything wrong?
It's the police, sir. We found a dead man in the palm garden downstairs.
Now do you believe me?
You will oblige me, all of you, if you remain quiet and allow me to deal with this. What does this man look like, Pearson?
He's a foreign-looking gentleman, sir. Never saw him before. He doesn't live in the building.
Well, then how did he get to the palm garden?
Well, sir, that's what we don't know. He certainly wasn't there when I looked in half an hour ago. But I went back to the palm garden just by chance, and there he was in a wicker chair with singing birds in cages all around him.
Birds again?
Oh, be quiet, Ronald.
He'd been shot, sir. The police think he was brought down in the service elevator from somewhere upstairs.
Why do they think that?
Because they found a revolver in that elevator and a little paper band of the kind that goes around banknotes. If they could tell where the dead man came from...
You can tell us where he came from.
Huh? I can, sir.
Yes, you've been in most of the flats in this building, haven't you?
I've been inside all of them, sir. Why?
Well, would you recognize any given flat if I described it?
Yes, sir, certainly, but...
Well, then, for the love of Mike, think. Who lives in a flat with 5 canary cages in the dining room?
Ronald, are you out of your mind? In case you don't happen to remember, you're describing my place.
No, it was like your place, but it wasn't at all the same. Oriental prints on the walls. In the living room, bronze bookends and bronze lamps. Dragon patterns on the lampshades. There was a queer kind of clock on the mantelpiece, shaped like a figure of Father Time. And what's the matter with you, Pearson?
Nothing, sir. But you're sure you saw all that?
Yes, of course I'm sure. Why not?
Because, I'm sorry, sir, but you couldn't have seen it.
What do you mean I couldn't have seen it? I did see it. Who lives in the blasted place?
Nobody.
Well, you mean the flat's vacant?
No, sir. I mean, there's no such flat in the whole building.
And that's the position I was in when the police took us down to that palm garden to see the body. I never did like the palm garden much. It's a big, dimly lighted hollow of a place, with bird cages beside the palms and an artificial goldfish pond in the middle. I liked it even less at 3 o'clock in the morning with a dead man looking at me from his chair. They sent us in one at a time. I was first to see the homicide squad officer. And there was Inspector Braddock, a big, sleepy-looking hulk with a hat like a pirate, sitting on a bench throwing pebbles at that pond. Back would go his arm, and a pebble would hit the water. Back would go his arm, and a pebble would hit the water.
And that's all you've got to tell me, Mr. Dunham?
Yeah, that's all, Inspector. It happens to be true.
Oh, I believe you. After all, son, we've got corroboration.
Corroboration? From whom?
From your other girlfriend, Fifi Latour.
Fifi's not here. She ran out of here as soon as Duroc's body fell through that door.
Yes, but she didn't run far. A cop wondered why she was running and brought her back.
Where's Fifi now?
In that room there, talking to your official girlfriend.
Oh, that's fine. That's beautiful. The one thing I didn't tell Anita.
Why don't you wake up?
Wake up? How?
This isn't post office any longer. It's murder. And one of that gang out there shot Pierre Duroc.
Are you serious?
Serious. Sure, I'm serious. This is as clever and slick and mean a trick as ever went on the blotter. Pierre Duroc was one of the goats. You were the other. This uncle of yours is a fairly important guy, isn't he?
Wait a minute. Just exactly what are you saying about the old boy?
I'm saying he gets lots of publicity. This hobby of his, keeping dicky birds, must be pretty well known.
Yes, I suppose so.
All right. So if Duroc came to visit your uncle tonight...
You say if Duroc came to visit my uncle.
What you're forgetting, son, is that Duroc's an important man, too. He's a visiting foreigner, capital letters, and the department's got to keep an eye on him. Duroc did go to visit your uncle tonight, and he was carrying $20,000 in cash.
What are you intimating?
Murder.
Inspector Braddock.
Yes, Sergeant?
That crowd out there is raising Cain, especially the old man and the French gal. Shall I let him in?
Yeah, you can let him in now.
No, more than an hour. Sitting in an anteroom without even hearing why we're here. I tell you, that Evans is intolerable.
It's all right, sir. They probably know what they're doing.
You think so, my friend? But I still don't know why I'm here.
How very interesting, Miss Latour. Such extreme absent-mindedness. Or perhaps Ron could tell you why you're here.
Oh, listen, Anita, I can explain everything.
Can you explain the disappearing apartment? Well, that's better. I'd like, if you don't mind, to have a little quiet here. Now, which one of you is Mr. Rufus Denham?
I am Rufus Denham, sir. Rufus Denham of Denham & Company. Can there be any doubt whatever about that?
No, but I thought I'd ask. I was just telling your nephew, Mr. Denham, that Pierre Duroc came here tonight to see you.
To see me, Inspector?
That's right.
I can only characterize that statement, sir, as a flat and downright lie. I've never met that man.
I didn't say you met him. I said he came here to see you. Duroc wanted to buy some property from you, didn't he?
Well, I suppose he did.
And Duroc always paid spot cash, didn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
Just one more question. I imagine you've got a secretary.
Yes, naturally I've got a secretary. Miss Helen Gardner. What about her?
Somebody, posing as your secretary, telephoned Duroc at the Metropolis Hotel and spoke to him in very good French.
Well, Inspector, don't stop there. Go on.
This person, pretending to represent Rufus Denham, asked Duroc to come here with the money and said they could settle the deal immediately. Don't you see the trick now? Don't you see Duroc was lured into a dummy apartment?
A dummy apartment? What does this man mean?
I'll tell you. All the flats are furnished exactly alike except for personal things. Pictures, books, lampshades, ornaments. Is that correct?
Yes, of course it is.
The murderer didn't dare use Rufus Denham's real flat. But the murderer could always decorate an imitation flat so that Pierre Duroc would be deceived when he saw...
5 canary birds.
That's it, son.
But what was the idea?
A very neat swindle. Look at Duroc's body now.
Oh, I can't look at it.
Look at his thick glasses. The man was half blind. This so-called secretary, disguised, would meet Duroc in an imitation flat. Duroc would hand over the money and get forged title deeds in return. When Duroc had gone, the flat could be put right again and no evidence left.
But, something went wrong,
That's right. Something went wrong. Duroc suspected.
And had to be killed.
Right again.
Inspector Braddock, who is the murderer?
Can't you guess?
No, I think I know how it all happened.
Do you, Miss Latour? Well, it's very smart of you.
This poor Ronald of mine, he is at a bachelor party. They do not think that he will be home until daylight. But he get reformed and come home early. He blunders straight into that flat in time to interrupt.
In time to interrupt the murder, yes. Afterwards, when you were supposed to run away...
But I did run away.
Sure, Miss Latour, I'm admitting you did.
Then why do you look at me as though I didn't?
Afterwards, as I was saying, the murderer had to hit Ronald Denham over the head and drag him out in the hall. Duroc's body was brought down here along with the canary cages that had been borrowed from here. and the dummy flat was set right again.
Just one moment, Inspector Raddick. I'm not disputing anything you say, but...
Well, sir, what's on your mind?
The murderer.
What about the murderer?
Well, all this. Wouldn't it have been much too heavy a job for a woman?
Who said the murderer was a woman?
Well, didn't you?
I don't think I did. I said the murderer was somebody who planned a swindle. And you still don't see it, any of you, because you can't find the dummy flat.
No, and I can't find it myself. That's one question you've got to answer here and now. Where in Satan's name did I go? Whose flat was I in?
Your own.
My own?
Naturally. If you'd been cold sober, you might have made a mistake. But your instinct brought you home to your own flat. And the only possible murderer is the man who shares that flat with you. The man who thought you'd be away until daylight. The man who knows enough about Dunham's business affairs to plan this swindle against Duroc.
Look out, Inspector Braddock!
Grab him, Sergeant. Thomas Evans, I arrest you for the murder of Pierre Duroc.
Good Lord. Well, that's about all there is to the story. Anita and I were married last week. She's a wonderful girl. I tried to talk her into our staying on in my old flat, but she said she just had to have an apartment which didn't have such a habit of disappearing. But we're very happy. We agree about everything, don't we, dear?
Oh, practically everything, darling. But I still don't think it was cute of Fifi to send up 3 dozen canaries for a wedding present.
And so closes 5 Canaries in the Room, starring Ona Munson, Lee Bowman, and Osa Masson. Tonight's tale of Suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when our suspense play will be Last Night by Cornell Woolrich, and will star more of your Hollywood favorites. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin and Lucian Marowit, conductor and composer, and John Dixon Carr, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.